I'm going to tell you the same thing. I'm going to tell you, you sit down with H group. You already have a ceasefire in place. Let it play out, right?
Did they
And
return the hostages?
if you behave yourself, I'll give you the $4 billion in aid. But until then, you be a good dog, right? And you let the ceasefire play out. Instead, he did the opposite. Israel backed out of the ceasefire agreement. Israel backed out of the ceasefire agreement. Okay.
Did the group return the
still
hostages?
Awarded them. Did they return the hostages? Yes, they were returning the hostages.
All of them?
What was the ceasefire agreement? Wait. Let me ask you. Let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question first. Who do you think backed out of the ceasefire agreement first?
Israel, because y'all didn't return the hostages.
Israel backed out of the ceasefire agreement.
Why are you saying Palestine and Hamas?
He supports them.
Why are you saying Palestine and Hamas is like one entity?
Who's the government of Palestine right now?
It's Hamas, but they don't represent the entire people of Palestine. I think a baby.
Wait, doesn't the government represent the people of their country?
Okay.
Yeah, but how many elected, people? But I don't really think a terrorist organization. Do you think like a terrorist organization like let's say like
that's like saying
Al-Qaeda,
Putin
right?
doesn't represent Russia. That's the thing.
Not everybody
agrees with
Biden
everybody in Russia agrees with
States,
Putin,
dude.
so Putin doesn't represent Russia.
That's like saying Biden represents all of the United States, or like
Exactly.
Trump represents all of the United States.
He does. He represents the United States. Who represents the United States?
He doesn't represent all of the United States. Not
when
every person in the United States
when we need to
voted
go
for
make
Trump or
international
Biden.
deals,
Dude.
who's getting sent?
Well, let's stay on topic first. Hold on. Let's say we were just on the topic of Israel and Palestine's ceasefire agreement. Okay, so I'm going to ask you this again.
They didn't return the hostages, so Israel backed out of the ceasefire agreement first. Does that answer your question?
Okay, false. No, it does,
all
but
the
it's
hostages.
false.
Not
false.
one or two, but all of them. And y'all want to say that they're keeping the hostages
that wasn't in
for a
that wasn't in
bargaining
the
chip.
agreement. That wasn't in the agreement.
So they didn't say return the hostages so we could have the ceasefire agreement?
Tell me what was in the ceasefire agreement. If you're saying that
returning the hostages. I'm saying that's
okay,
what
so
I'm
you
saying.
see, here you are putting your foot in your mouth once again, host. You don't know what the fuck was in the ceasefire agreement.
Was returning the hostages in the ceasefire agreement? Yes or no?
You don't know what the
I don't know. I'm saying I don't know.
And
was
yet you're still shooting off at your mouth.
Was returning the hostages in the ceasefire agreement?
Yes.
Did the H group return their hostages?
They were. And
they returned all the hostages. All of them.
They were supposed to do. Relax. They were supposed to do it in 3 phases. 3 phases. That was the agreement. Do you want to go over the phases? Do I need to go over the phases with you?
I can look them up.
Please pull it up. Please inform yourself before you fucking shoot off at the mouth. You did this with the Department of Education, and you're doing it again.
Bro, you don't even know what they're doing. You don't know why you support it or not. Don't support it. You don't support.
Of course I know. Of course I know what I support.
Why do you think he supports it,
bro?
Say that again.
You don't even know that there was fucking 3. You don't even know that there was 3 phases in the ceasefire agreement. You just said, well, they didn't return all of the hostages. But again, there was 3 phases to this ceasefire agreement.
Yo, I'm gonna go, bro, but I just want to like leave with a statement.
What's up?
So, you ignored my 2017 tax cut, right? And how like it disproportionately helped the rich.
I literally answered that question. I said that, if a person makes, let's say you do a tax cut across the board, 1%, the people that make more money is gonna get more money back.
Yeah. But don't you think that's...
Come on.
Do you think that's...
Currently right now, we have a progressive tax rate where the more money you take, every dollar after percent thing gets charged at a higher rate. So if we if we do like a 1% tax cut, let's just say we do that across the board, particular people are gonna get daggone more money. If you want,
can I explain something to you?
If the higher class of people that makes all the job and he cuts business taxes for that, they'll have more money to invest in their business, hire more people, and expand. So you're talking about
supply side economics. You're talking about supply side economics, right? But You didn't read what I sent you. What I sent you literally has every question in it. I sent it in the chat a while ago, but it was called
website
the
because
20.
there's not website because there's a lot of stuff that was going on in the chat and I wasn't paying attention to everything in the chat.
It was a website, okay, and it was. I
If you
can
send
send
URL links, it doesn't work.
No, I know. I sent you the title of it.
What was the title of it?
It was the 2017 tax cut.
What's up? You just got dropped, bro. What's up? You good? You muted. If you're not on the daggone app, we can't hear you, big dog. Yo, Sean, you still here?
No, I'm here. I'm just trying to pull it up. It's like the 2017 tax honest promises. I can pull it up.
You're gonna get muted if you try to talk while you're pulling it up because you're leaving the app. Since he's gone, what's up? What you got for me, Free Palestine?
I think you were saying you were gonna pull up the ceasefire agreement, bro.
Oh, so, okay, yeah. Go ahead. I was pulling that up.
So search up these two things, okay? Search up the ceasefire agreement and search up the 2017 Trump tax law was skewed to the rich, expensive, and failed to deliver on its promises. And it's by the Center on Budget and Policy, budget and policy priorities.
Let me see. Both Israel and Trump administration. Okay, you said that it disproportionately affected the rich. Okay.
Yes.
But I'm saying why disproportionately for
No. But
you said that that's just supply side economics.
Read through the article. It can show you why the corporate tax cuts literally helped the top percent and helped the ultra wealthy more than it did anyone else. I can show to you how the average American the average 60% American saved on average $500, while the average 10% saved $60,000. Like I can explain to you
more money.
Okay, how is it fair? Okay, how is it fair that they save $60,000, they save on their corporate tax cuts, they do all this, and the average American gets $500, right? While they're
so the average American should get $60,000, or you said $10,000?
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying, okay, can you just read the article? Can you just look at what I sent you? Can you just read what it says?
I'm just gonna accept what you say as fact, okay? I'm accepting what you say as fact.
Okay, so accept it as fact.
Okay, you tell me that the average American saved 500 and the other people saved 10,000, right?
No, 60,000.
60,000, right? 60,000, right?
Yes.
My bad. Sorry, mistake.
Yes.
Should the average person have saved 60,000?
No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying it disproportionately. It was
because they make a disproportionate amount of money.
Okay, so do you think the tax credit was good then?
Bro, if we didn't have that that little virus, it would have helped out a lot better. Because during the COVID, it was one of the highest transfers of wealth from the lower middle class to the highest class, right?
Why do you think that was?
Because people were still buying stuff, even though they weren't really working, so they didn't have a lot of money coming in. But they were still purchasing. They were still making purchases, so that's why it happened.
Yeah, exactly.
Because maybe these states shouldn't have stayed closed. Remember when the Department of Education kept the schools closed longer than they needed to be closed? If each individual state was able to determine when they could reopen their schools, maybe it would have been a lot better for individual states.
That's literally what happened.
The Department of Education. My bad. Each individual state had control of their schools going back open because it wasn't the Department of Education.
Each state were determined over their COVID policies.
The Department of Education kept on pushing back.
No, I'm saying the
right?
Department of Education doesn't mean shit. All right, all I'm saying right now is that literally states could choose when they reopened and shit.
But were they not following the guidance of the Department of Education?
Yeah, but the Department of Education doesn't mean shit. The most people affected were by it was
so
literally the elderly.
I'm confused. I'm confused now. You tell me. I'm agreeing with you. Not everybody. It didn't even be closed down. But what did they go by the guidance of the Department of Education to reopen the schools?
Well, all I'm trying to say is that the disproportionately did not affect if more people died or not. What affected by more people or died or not was literally the policies of the state. One of the highest dying states was Florida, California, New York, because number one, they opened early. Number two, they failed to implement policies that safely reopen businesses schools and stuff like that. There were so many things I can explain that's wrong. Like Trump didn't wear
you can't try to say that's what I'm trying to say. You can't try to say it was only because of Trump's tax cut when we had other things going on. Because when I try to say, this particular thing is the reason why, you say, there's more factors into that particular thing.
Can we agree on this? Was the tax cut? Okay, we'll open. Do you even have the source I sent you open?
Bro, I'm trying to find the source that he said about the daggone the hostages thing.
Just if you literally search up the 2017 Trump tax law, that's literally the title. If you search that up, it'll just pop up.
I'm going based off what you tell me. Right?
Oh my God! Just pull it up and it will show it to you. You don't have to require
what
on my
word. What am I supposed to get from this?
This is going to show you that Trump doesn't care about the average American. The average American did not benefit by the policies of Trump's America.
Was Trump's tax cuts the sole reason that this happened?
It was sole reason what happened.
It was a sole reason. There was nothing else
going on.
So
reason of what happened. Wait, what happened?
You telling me that the Trump tax cut was what was your saying again about the Trump tax cut? Disproportionately affected
the Trump tax cut unproportionately helped the rich. It was expensive, and it failed to deliver on its promises.
You know why? And I'm trying to get why. Because the people were not working, so they didn't have. They were getting more money.
This is before COVID. This is only
2 years before COVID. You think that he implements a tax plan and the next day it affects people? Or you think it needs to take more time?
It can literally show. If you open the fucking source, it can show you.
I'm just asking a fucking question. You just won't answer that question. Answer the fucking question.
Just fucking read it.
Oh my God, which one? There's one from which who CBPP?
Yeah, that one. Just read it. Just read it.
Read what? Because it's like a long ass document.
It's 4 graphs. I can show you. Go to the first.
All right,
go to figure 1. What do you see in figure 1?
Let me see figure 1. The lowest quantity quantile, second quantile, middle quantile. That one.
Yeah. So who saved the most money?
The top 1%.
Okay. So how did that help the average American? Explain to me. Explain to me how that tax credit helped the average American.
You're gonna say I'm wrong and stuff, right?
Okay, no.
Okay,
I'll hear you out.
Explain to me
why that helped the average American.
Who pays about 70% of the taxes? The top 10%, right?
So most of it, but they pay it through other means. They don't really pay it through income tax.
If they get a tax break, wouldn't they get disproportionately more money? If they're paying more taxes?
Yeah, but what I'm trying to explain is that how did
about $24,000.
So you said you say the tax cuts are good, right? How did that help the average American? Explain to me.
Under about $24,000, do people pay taxes?
Not a lot. I mean, I made under $24,000, and I paid only not that much.
So if you're not paying that much taxes, what benefit would you get from a tax cut?
So basically, no. Let me explain. So if I made $60,000, right, and I had an extra money, let's say I get tax cuts, right? I use that money to survive. I use that money to make paycheck to paycheck. The people that make the top 1%, if they get an extra $60,000, what are they gonna do with that? They're gonna hoard it. They're gonna put it in their bank. They're gonna put it in their savings. They're not using that money in the economy. They're not putting that in the economy. They're putting that in their savings.
They don't just put it in savings because that's not how you make more money with money. Like, what is the highest interest rate for high yield saving accounts? Like 4.2%.
Yeah,
you could put it.
Yeah, exactly. They put it in those
versus investing in different things. We could get more money from it.
Okay, do you think the average rich person that has millions of dollars is going to use that $60,000 to put it in an investment? Literally by statistics, we can have 40 years of supply side economics to explain this. In 40 years, the wealth divide in America increased exponentially because the rich hoarded their wealth while not putting it in the economy. We literally have statistics in the last 40 years to back this up.
So you're telling me that I'm confused. Tell me
so
that.
The wealth divide in America was its highest now than it was back in 1870s. Not 1870s, like 1700s, 1800s France, right? Why are you trying to justify the rich getting $60,000 in tax credits? I don't understand.
I'm just saying why. I'm just working out the math for you. If they pay more taxes and you give them a tax break, they're gonna get more in the tax break than someone that doesn't pay as much as taxes.
Exactly, I completely understand that. But
what's wrong with what I said? What's wrong with that statement?
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that statement. But all I'm saying is,
so you tell me that if someone's not paying as much taxes, they're not incentivized to do particular building in particular areas. Like wasn't in like in New York, they're getting Amazon was getting a tax break in a particular area in New York. AOC was against that, and then they didn't build that particular factory or warehouse in that district.
Tell me if I'm wrong or not. Tell me if I'm wrong or tell me if I'm wrong or not. Okay.
You understand what I'm talking about? Before I continue, do you understand what I'm talking about?
Yeah, sure, whatever.
So does that make sense to you?
That has no substantial in my argument.
No, I'm saying okay. You tell me this. Do you understand what I was trying to say?
Yeah, that removing tax incentives for Amazon to build a plant removed the industry from that area, or like removed Amazon investing in that area.
So you tell me that if the Amazon built there, they wouldn't have to compete for jobs from other people, raising the amount of money that they had to pay the people.
Yeah.
So that was bad. Why?
What do you mean?
I'm not saying that to the rich. Why is tax incentive to the rich bad when it is incentivizing the build and make more money?
There's specific things you can look into and specify things like that, right? But I'm saying in general, right? If you do supply side economics, the gradual rate between the top 1% and the bottom 10% will grow exponentially, where the rich hoard their wealth while the poor keep on getting poorer and the rich keeps on getting richer. Okay, that's literally what supply economics has supplied for the past 40 years. They have provided the most economic growth ever through technological advances, while also advancing the wealth divide in America to exponential rates. Or do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah. Rich people getting richer, poor people getting poorer.
Let's go to the next figure, and I can show you how the rich saved even more.
I thought you said you were gonna leave and you were gonna be quick.
Okay, let's go to the next figure. Do you see? Are you reading the next figure? Figure 2?
Yes. Low content. Go ahead.
So what do you see? And let's analyze the graph and read what's under it. What does that say?
Just go ahead, big dog.
I can't read it because I have to keep on switching in and out.
Then what's the point of the graph? What's your next point? Just tell me what your next point is.
This is the misleading of the tax cuts was that it actually helped the middle class, and it was more of the upper class. That's basically the whole point of that graphic.
Was that not one of the largest tax cuts for the middle class?
No, it was not. It was, but it disproportionately helped the rich more than it did the middle class. Let's read the graphic and read the information. Let's read. Let's read together.
Cuts to the middle class, then, right?
I'm not reading the source. Maybe read the source and analyze the graphic, and then maybe come to a conclusion. And instead of me fucking pummeling the information to you, read it and look at the graphic.
You're trying to prove a
point. Read it and look at the graph.
Oh my goodness, I'm not doing that.
Why you can't read? You can't read? You can't read? Like
no,
read it.
I can't read.
Just
okay,
read
I can't read. I can't read. Okay, I can't read. Okay.
God, you're actually failing me.
I can't read.
Why aren't you taking in the information I'm trying to explain to you?
Because you're saying you're trying to say it disproportionately affected the rich. I'm saying okay. What? So you should say so. What would you have preferred? I have a question. What would you have preferred him do? No tax cuts for anybody? Was that what you prefer?
No, I think he should give tax cuts to the lower, to the middle class and the lower.
So he should give tax cuts to just the lower class, right? That's it.
Yeah,
I think he should have closed some of the loopholes.
Yeah, exactly. He should close loopholes, and he should make.
How come before Trump was in place, they didn't try to close none of these loopholes?
I agree with you. They should have done it before Trump took office.
So you're trying to put this on the back of Trump that Trump should have did it. They never did it before.
No. I think no.
And you don't think it's not actually loopholes. It's just the law. It's not
Trump
loopholes.
is not the first person. Trump is not the first rich president, and he's not going to be the last. So again, whether it's him, Biden, Bush, Obama, Clinton, they all should have closed or started closing the loopholes.
Literally go to the graph and go to figure 3. Go to figure 3 and read this to me. Go to figure 3. Okay, so that reinforces my another point. And then go to figure 4, how it increased the national debt and how Trump increased the national debt.
So I got a question.
In his policies before COVID, more than any other president.
I got a question for you.
Yeah.
So you tell me that I got to put you. How long did Trump's tax before Trump made his tax cut? And wait, when Trump made his tax cut, how long did it take for them to be to affect the economy?
Affect the economy. Well, if you look at the graph,
how
Trump
long did
actually,
it take for his tax cuts to affect the
so
economy?
I'm not saying it affected the economy. The economic growth in Trump was increasing throughout the years.
For whatever you're saying, how long did it take after Trump made the tax cuts for it to have an
So
effect?
it doesn't. Okay, I'm trying to explain to you how that doesn't particularly affect the economy. It affects the wealth divide, and it affects.
How long did it take for it to affect the wealth divide?
Maybe I mean, for the first year, whenever it got implemented, I guess.
So as soon as he made the tax cuts within the first year, it affected the wealth divide, right?
Yeah, because it gave more money to the rich. Yeah.
And what did that do? You say after in 2017, it affected the wealth divide, giving more money to the rich, right? And
Yeah.
like, what was the other thing that he was trying to do at the same time?
So basically, it raised the national debt.
What was the other things that Trump was trying to do at the same time? Because it's not just his plan wasn't just to cut taxes, right? It was more than that, right? It was cut taxes, deregulation, and drill baby drill, right?
Yeah.
And you think that as soon as he did that one particular thing, everything should have happened all at the same time? Or do you think, okay, we're gonna work about this tax cut to incentivize the rich people to do more investments, and then we're gonna do deregulation to get rid of some of the red tape that's keeping people from saying, you know what, I don't want to do particular things in this particular area because I don't want to jump through all the loopholes, right? And we're gonna, because almost everything in this economy needs for us to drill oil, whatever you want to say, in some particular way. For food, you need to get food from one place to the other, and if you drill more, you have more of that particular supply in the economy, which will reduce the input cost for a lot of stuff. So do you think that those three things combined together would have been effective if we didn't have COVID?
Okay, so I can explain three things to you. Okay,
number one, are you answering my question? Is that answering my question? You're answering my question.
My answer is no.
So you're saying all those three? So that's where we disagree then.
No. I can show you actual statistics that show that's not true. The average. Okay, we had the consistent same amount of growth we had. Okay, if you look at an economic graph, I can bring up another source. If you give me a second, I can show you how
I have a question for you.
Trump righted off Obama's economy, and it added nothing to the exponential growth of the United States. The GDP did not increase. I can show you.
Let me ask you a question.
Okay, what's your point?
If we produce more oil, does that not reduce the price of oil?
Yeah, but we did not. When do you think we were producing the most oil in the United States?
I don't know off the top of my head, but if you think we did that,
it was in Biden's era. I literally searched Biden's
era. Then he deplete our national reserves, or was it strategic reserves to zero under Biden?
No, you search up when.
Yes, under Biden. Under Biden.
Search up.
I'm telling you.
Do I have to search up because you
our
can?
strategic reserve was reduced to zero under Biden because he was using our strategic.
Do you need me to search up?
In our strategic reserves into the economy. That's why it was reduced to zero.
Okay, so
do you know what I'm talking about?
We don't know what Google is, so let's just.
Do you know what I'm talking about? So you're just gonna ignore the thing about our strategic reserves, right? Let's get back to the hostages thing. Free Palestine. You still here?
Yep.
All right. I'm reading this thing from CNN. Both Israel and Trump administration have blamed Hamas for the resumption of the hostility, citing that the militant group's refusal to meet Israel's demand to release more hostages in return for resumptions of talk. But this was not part of the original ceasefire agreement and went into effect January 19. The first phase of that deal, which had Hamas release 25 hostages and bodies of 8 in exchange for around 1,800 Palestinian prisoners in March. The second phase was set to kick in 16 days later and would have included exchange of all remaining hostages and the establishment of a permanent ceasefire. In the phase 3, the bodies of all dead hostages were to be returned and commitment made to rebuild Gaza. But the second phase have never begun after Netanyahu said never began after Netanyahu said he had accepted a plan by Steve Witkoff, Trump's special envoy to the Middle East, to extend the ceasefire for 50 days to discuss phase 2, a proposal that was immediately rejected by Hamas. Following the Hamas rejection, Israel blocked the flow of aid and goods into Gaza, and a move condemned by rights group Israel's military called Tuesday strike preemptive and suggested without providing any evidence that Hamas was attempting to rearm. Should I continue reading?
No, you hit it right on the head, brother. Right there, black and white. You see it for yourself.
Yeah, that's what I said though. I'm saying what Israel said. I'm not saying if they're right for what they said. You for some reason because I don't support Palestine, I support Israel. I don't support Israel either.
No, you said no. You said they didn't give back the hostages. That broke.
Okay,
go ahead.
This is what I'm saying. I'm saying Israel said because they didn't give back more hostages, that's why they ended the ceasefire. That's what Israel said, right?
No, originally they said.
Yes. Okay, I'm agreeing with you. Originally that they had an agreement to release the hostages in 3 separate phases, but Israel wanted to release them all at the same time. And people are saying that because if Hamas is to release them all at the same time, they'll lose their bargaining chip and leverage.
No,
right?
no. The original ceasefire. You just read it. The original agreement that they came up with was to do it in 3 phases. Right. The first phase was to release 25 to 33 hostages. I believe it was 33, and then the second phase was to release the remaining hostages. But you saw there that Whitmer went and renegotiated an agreement, right?
Okay.
And A Troop came back and said, "Well, wait a fucking minute. You already agreed to the original ceasefire agreement.
Well, stop,
Why are you going back?"
What do you think? What side do you think I'm trying to say? What do you think my particular idea about this is?
I think you don't give a fuck either way.
You're correct. Because if we didn't fund Israel, they would have less weapons to attack Hamas, right?
But at this point, brother, in 2025, with what we are seeing and the access we have to view this conflict in the Middle East, I think you by now.
Do you care about the Uyghur Muslims?
Of course.
Then how come it's not it says free Palestine but doesn't mention the Uyghur Muslims?
Well, I only have one photo.
So you care,
brother, and
you care about one particular thing more, right?
What's that?
You care about one particular thing more, right?
I can't say for certain that I care about one particular thing more. That's like,
you
again,
literally
that's a very
do. If your thing is saying
argument.
free Palestine, you have the daggone Palestinian flag in your profile picture. You obviously care about one particular more.
I'll make it easy. I'll make it easy for you. I care about the unaliving of all innocent civilians, whether that's the Uyghurs, whether that's the Palestinians, whether that's Jews. Okay.
So do you support the attack on October 7th? Do you think they should have done that? October 6th before.
I just told you I don't agree with the unaliving of any innocent civilians.
So why did they start the war then?
The people of Palestine did not do that. That was Hamas. There's two separate
They voted
entities.
for Hamas in what, 20?
Yeah, but okay.
I
Since they voted for Hamas, they deserve to die.
No, they're fighting Hamas. And they just have. I'm not saying I agree with one way or another. I'm just saying what happened and why one particular group.
Did Israel and Palestine's conflict start on October 7th?
What you said?
Did the Palestine and Israel conflict start on October 7th?
Are you gonna mention this open air prison thing or there and it started in 1940 something or something like that? If that were just started mentioning,
just say, did the Israel-Palestine conflict start on October 7th?
This war started October 7th. I'll give you that.
Yeah, the war started October 7th, but the mistreatment of Palestine and the subsequent...
There would be no war if Palestine never attacked.
Oh, that's wild, bro.
That's wild. You seriously think that?
That's wild. Come on, man. You're too smart, bro.
Would Israel be bombing them right now if they never attack? Yes or no?
They were attacking them before.
Yeah, they were already.
Would this?
They were already
this a daggone G-style? Would this stuff be going on right now if Israel never was attacked?
No.
Yes, because it was already happening before October 7th,
They were
bro.
dropping them kaboom booms on them before October 7th.
Yeah, do you want me to pull
in the same way that they're doing right now?
Not in the same capacity, but
they were bombing the northern state, pushed them down to south.
No,
they
not
bombed
in the
that
same
area,
capacity,
they pushed them down south, and bombed that
area.
They were still killing.
They were still mistreating. They were still keeping them in.
So it would not be at the same extent that is happening now, then, right?
So if it's 40 kids that passed away before October 7th to 1,000 kids that passed away now, Does it make it okay then or now because of the conflict on October 7th, or is it still a G side whether it was 40 kids before October 7th or 1,000 kids now?
I'm not using the me particular. I wouldn't call it that.
Okay.
I would call it war. And if you start a war with a country, you gotta be ready for the collateral damage. As effed up as that sounds, that's
bro,
just the true thing when it comes to war.
But it's not a war, dude. It's
a genocide. It's not a war.
With an army? Is Palestine
my
a war?
country
Palestine
is
a
smaller
country with its own army?
If my country is smaller than another country, and I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna attack this country, and then they f me up, what do you expect?
Oh
They expect
my
them to,
God!
like,
You're saying
do you
it's
expect to be able to
justified
beat-
because they started it?
I'm not saying it's justified. I'm saying what happens. This is just the reality of stuff. This is not
it's not the
justifying anything.
reality.
Okay, if
It's
you attack a
it's
country,
not
do
the
they defend
reality.
themselves? If you attack
It's not the reality, and
then
I'll
Ukraine
explain
shouldn't
to you
defend
why.
themselves. Then, if
Let
what
me-
y'all
let me-
saying, why
That's
do
insane.
Ukraine defend themselves? Because you saying
okay.
you saying Israel can't defend themselves.
Yeah, but they
Why do
both have
Ukraine defend
armies, dude.
themselves?
That's the difference. That's the difference. They're both countries, and they both have armies. Okay,
Yeah, but-
Palestine doesn't have an army.
They had the daggone
Okay.
terrorist group that was in charge of them. Why did they vote those in?
Okay, so now they're a T group. So what would you call Netanyahu and his regime? Would you call them a T group?
No, I'll call them the Israel government. If you want, because
Why wouldn't you
That's
call
the
them a
same
T
thing.
group?
what is terrorism? Terrorism is designed by doing acts of terror to further political interests, right?
to civilians?
It's not necessarily
Right.
civilian. It's as long it's to
Okay, then to who?
Okay.
It's not
Then
always
to who?
civilians, is it? It's not always civilians.
Then who? Then to who?
To
If it's not to civilians, then it's to who?
it doesn't say particular people. It says the goal is to like do for political purposes. You could attack government officials or
terrorizing
military.
who, though?
You could attack government officials or military officials. It still would be terrorism. Even those are not civilians.
And they've done both. Okay, and they've done both. But
Okay.
but in particular civilians. Okay, they're terrorizing civilians.
They're attacking more civilians, and you want to call that terrorism? Okay, okay.
No, for what gain though? You define terrorism.
Terrorism when people
Right,
do
you-
like acts or like try to do like
Acts of violence.
You could do acts of violence. You could do stuff to promote fear for political purposes. And some people you want to focus on a specifically targeting civilian aspect. I'm saying it could be targeting civilian, targeting military officials, targeting daggone government officials. It's not necessarily only civilians that makes it terrorism. Because
Okay,
when
fine.
what is the gang in Mexico that cut off the heads or like killed a whole bunch of daggone government officials before
The cartels.
yeah, the cartels when they attack political officials, that's acts of terrorism because they're
Okay,
doing it
and
for
Israel
political
is not
purposes.
And Israel is not doing that in Palestine.
If, bro, you're making me defend Israel. I don't really want to defend Israel, but you're making me do it.
I'm not.
If
I'm
Hamas
not
wasn't
asking you to
hiding
defend
behind,
it.
okay, if you don't want me to defend Israel or tell me, I'm just saying the reason that they say they're doing it. I'm not saying I agree with it
I'm
one way
very
or the
well
other.
aware. Bro, you don't need to talk for the Israeli government. I'm very well aware of the
Every-
government's stance on the conflict over there. I'm asking for your opinion, bro, on facts.
War is wrong because I don't think we should be killing each other. But I'll say this: if you attack someone that's stronger than you, what do you expect to happen?
So are you justifying or what's the purpose?
How was that a justification? I'm just saying
No,
what
I'm
happens.
saying what's the purpose of you saying that? What's the purpose?
I'm just saying what happens in reality. If you attack someone, if I go and punch The Rock in the face, he's gonna whoop my ass, right?
Yeah, but okay, should your
But did the
family
Rock?
bear-
Did
okay,
the
wait,
Rock?
wait, wait, I
Yeah,
have a
but did the
question.
Rock come into your house and say 50% of this is mine?
Yeah.
because my God
Exactly.
ordained it
Wait,
so,
did
bro.
the
That
Rock
was a good one,
kill
like
your
that one.
entire family?
Okay,
Like,
so
if
and
you
if
slapped The Rock,
he did, and if The
kill your
Rock did
entire
do that,
family?
Okay,
and
I
if
got
The
a
Rock
question.
did do that, then yeah, you should punch him directly in the fucking
I
face.
got a question. Do you think the state of Palestine should be allowed to exist? Not Palestine,
I think
but the
it
state of
should.
Israel. Do you think the state of Israel should be allowed to exist?
Yeah, I think it should be.
course.
Of course.
So-
Just not on the backs of Palestinians, bro.
So
Yes, exactly.
So you're with the
Palestinians shouldn't be
two-state
treated as
solution, then,
second-
right? They have two
No, I
separate.
support in the best realm, in the best world. I feel like there should be I feel like there should be a one-state solution between Israel and Palestine, where they're both treated as citizens and live on the land that they both find cultural, religious, and like sentiment to the land. Right.
So
that's
who
the
should-
perfect world. But
Who should rule that?
Israel has shown
Wait, I have
that
a
they
question.
can't
Wait,
do that.
Before I continue, who should rule that? This one state, who should be in charge of it? The Palestinian or the Israelis?
It should be
People should
cooperative.
decide who's in charge of that.
Yeah, they should be cooperative.
Because they all should have the same equal rights.
Yeah. I feel like they should.
Okay, so if let's say both people were in charge, they assimilating that, and there was more Israelis
That's a
in charge,
perfect
would you
quote, bro.
support
It doesn't
that?
know what's gonna happen.
Huh?
What?
If there were more
These are
Israelis in
hypotheticals,
charge,
yeah.
Yeah, sure. Well, they
Israelis
take up more of the
dominated the thing.
population. They take up more of the population, but they take up more of the population. Sure. Yeah. But all I'm trying to say is that's basically impossible to happen now. Maybe before, yeah. Maybe like 20, 40, 60 years ago, yeah.
But host, what would be wrong with that?
Yeah, what would be wrong with that?
They don't want to do that. You can't force people.
Who's they?
Israelis and the Palestinian does not want to live together. They both agree that they should be in charge of the whole land by themselves,
because the
right?
Palestinians have been living as second class citizens in that society.
I'm just saying when Palestinians get federal aid, that's because it's in charge. The people that are in charge of the government is Hamas. What do they do with the federal aid? Not federal aid, but the aid that they get from foreign countries. What do they do with it?
You tell me.
Because isn't the only country in that area that's doing what is it? I forgot. Water purification from seawater is and irrigation stuff. Isn't that just the Israelis, right? Because how do you think that group is able to purchase weapons?
Who? Group?
The Palestinians. How are they able to purchase weapons?
The Palestinians or Hamas?
Who is the government of Palestine?
Okay,
Palestinians. Yes. Are you asking how are they able to purchase weapons?
Is this if I said Israel, right? Is that the same thing as saying Jews?
No, because there's Jews in America. But if you're talking about the Israeli government and you're talking about the Israeli is there, then yes, I'll agree with you.
If I said Palestinian, Palestine, right? Is that different from Hamas?
No, the government. That's like saying that the government is different from America. The U.S. government is different from America.
Extremely radical settlers are,
why do they gotta be radical right settlers? Why can't be the radical left?
No, that's what I'm saying. Because Hamas is
because the Likud party is far right, dude.
And you're literally you're saying that a terrorist organization is the same as human beings, like that live there, like women and children.
I'm saying evil people get in charge of the government. We're not saying that.
So Israel.
Okay, if you want to say Israel's evil and their government's evil, okay, I'll give you that. Because we agree that Russia, their government is evil, right?
Yeah, but that doesn't mean the people's evil.
Yeah, but that's what the representation for Russia. That's what they voted.
All Russians are evil, though. It's like saying I hate Russians because they invaded Georgia. Like, no, I don't hate Russians. I hate the Russian government. I hate Putin. I hate the oligarchy. I don't hate the common man.
I agree. I agree with you saying that, but the government represents the people.
Okay, so do you think Israel represents the Jews as a whole?
The Israeli government represents the Israeli government takes action on the behalf of the Israelis that live in Israel.
No, Jews is I'm saying the Israelis.
I'm saying the Israelis that live in Israel. I'm trying to make my thing specific because instead of just saying the Jews, because there's Jews in many different countries.
So but there's not all Palestinians live in Palestine. Not all Palestinians voted for Hamas.
The Palestinian that lived in Gaza during the election, who got voted in for?
Oh, I don't. Why are you trying to trying to say like Hamas and Palestine as one word as like that equals the same thing?
They are the ones that's representing them.
They're not the representatives.
Who's the representative of Palestine in this war?
I don't think a common woman and children that's getting bombed by Israel thinks that Hamas should. What?
Are you saying there is no representative?
Host, let me put this analogy to you for a quick second. Okay, so maybe it'll help you understand something. Okay, when 20 years ago, we're in 2025. 20 years ago was what, 2005? Who was president back then?
For America?
Yeah, who was president in 2005? You guys remember?
It was Bush.
Okay, it was Bush. Now imagine if after that election, Bush was president for the remaining 20 years up until 2025, right? and Bush.
That's the violation of our
let's say,
Constitution, 26th Amendment.
but,
I think 26.
okay, relax.
This is
Okay,
hypothetical.
stick with me. Okay, I'm trying to make a point here. But let's say in 2025, right? President Bush started a war with, I don't know, let's say Canada, right? A neighbor of ours. He started unaliving people in Canada, and Canada
Canada
went
attack us?
ahead, and Canada went ahead and defended itself. Now, would you be sitting here saying, or would you feel like it's okay for Canada to say, well, we're going to just start unaliving all Americans because, they did vote Bush in, and they're all complicit. They're all under.
I can't get mad at Canada for trying to fight against us just because we attacked them.
But that's called collective punishment, brother.
Yes,
and
exactly.
that is a war crime.
I'll say one more particular thing, right? If Hamas wasn't hiding behind women and children in under hospitals, y'all were making me do this. I don't want to support. I don't want to defend Israel. But this is what they say. What do you want me to say?
What
do you want me to say?
Just not support Israel.
I don't support Israel. But every time you
use your noodle, dude. You're smarter than this, bro.
No, stop. If y'all believe in you, bro. Stop. If y'all say something, I'm just supposed to be like, okay. Not say any rebuttal.
No, you're supposed to listen and keep an open mind, and then face off back.
But I'm saying what the other side is. I'm saying what the other.
You're just regurgitating talking points from Israel, bro. But
yes, I'm agreeing with you.
Have critical thinking.
Oh my goodness, I'm literally saying that I'm only saying what the Israelis say that they're doing and why they're saying that they're doing it. Okay. I'm not saying that I support this. I'm literally just saying this is what the other side believes. This is what the why the other side is doing, why they're doing what they're doing. I'm not saying, I support this 100%. They should be allowed. No, that's not what I'm saying.
Sure, okay, but that's what they say. But let's use our common sense here for a second, host. Okay, let me give you another fucking hypothetical, right? If you get in trouble, if you get in a fight with your neighbor comes over and he punches you in the face, right? And then he goes over to his back to his house.
No.
Okay, all right. So he punches you in the face. You go back. Okay, he goes back to his house, right? And then you go. Jesus Christ, bro. Hold on, relax.
Okay, my bad. Sorry.
Okay, he punches you in the face, right? You go, all right, let's say this. He punches your girlfriend in the face. You're not home. You come home, your girlfriend says, hey, the neighbor punched me in the face. You go over to his house and you go do something about it, right? When you knock on the door, he opens the door. He's holding a baby in his hand. Do you punch him directly through the fucking baby, or do you tell him, go put your baby down so we can duke it out?
Is it his baby?
Bro,
is it his baby?
Wait, can we pivot from the conversation real quick? I'm at 1% and I need to leave. I just want to say one thing, okay? You're intellectually dishonest for not taking in any of my sources, okay?
I was reading your sources,
happened.
But I said what my particular thing is. For your sources, I had a rebuttal. You didn't like my rebuttal.
Yeah, because your rebuttal was wrong, okay?
Okay,
but I sent you sources. I sent you sources.
You believe that my rebuttal was wrong. I believe that you're wrong. What do you want to do about it then?
Okay.
We're not gonna change each
I'll
other's
literally
minds.
take 30 seconds of your time and I'll leave. I'll take 30 seconds of your time, okay? I literally sent 3 sources of the comments. Number 1 was about energy independence in Biden's America, okay?
And
Number
I told
2
you under
was
Biden,
about no. Let me talk.
Strategic reserve.
Number
you didn't
2 was about
that.
how Trump inherited a strong economy from Obama and did not implement any policies that significantly increased the GDP
because of COVID and outside
and then number 3
things.
is about the national debt of the effect of his tax cuts of how they put a national strain on the national debt.
Because his whole policy wasn't just tax cuts. It was more than just tax cuts. That's what his plan was. But I have a rebuttal for everything you say. You don't like the rebuttal.
No, you don't.
You said that Trump inherited Obama's economy. Okay, Trump inherited Obama's economy. But did he get to implement all the stuff that he wanted to do before he left his presidency? No, it wasn't just.
Did it significantly impact?
His plan wasn't just tax cut. It was more than just tax cuts. It was tax cuts. It was drill baby Joe, increasing our energy preserves and increasing the amount of energy, which reduced the input cost for a lot of things. And it was cutting a lot of and it was deregulation. I believe that those 3 things together would be beneficial for America. Did Trump get enough time to implement those 3 things? No, because we had a
Are you dumb? All those things were implemented before he. All those things were implemented when he was president. Are you
Yeah, we
dumb?
disagree.
Like all those were
Okay, I'm
implemented.
done. We disagree. Okay.
No. It's just that you don't. You literally think the party switch didn't happen. That's literally what I learned in high school, bro. Come on.
And you
Like
told me first of all, you told me that the party switch happened between 1955 and
Okay,
1980.
shut up,
That's not
okay,
when that.
I
That's
say
not when
all these
historians
things.
say the
I
party
say all
switch.
these-
The
okay,
party switch.
okay, I say all
If you
these
want to say
things-
the
okay,
party
bro.
switch,
You
you
just-
gotta mention the
you're
New
just
Deal.
so-
You didn't mention the New Deal at once. So what are you talking about the party switch?
Oh my god!
Do you know
oh
what
my
the
god.
New Deal
You're
is? So you don't know what the
your
party
head
switch is.
So thick,
So
bro.
you just said the
Maybe
party
just
switch.
take
When
some
people said the party
okay.
switch, they mentioned the New Deal. You don't even know what that is. So why are you mentioning the party switch?
No, I know what the New
Then
Deal is.
explain the New
bro.
Deal is. Go.
Okay, so
what
the
was
New
the
Deal
purpose
was
of the
a
New Deal?
So the New Deal was a transfer of the government switching from a government like a government.
No, it's to try to get a different coalition of voters.
What the New Deal was okay, I can explain the significant impact of the New Deal and how it affected the American government into more of a welfare state and how it served the people.
That they're targeting for votes. That's basically what the New Deal was.
Well, there was more to that. It wasn't just that.
In the most lamest terms, bro. But you didn't mention
Okay,
that
the most
New
lamest
Deal was before.
terms, sure.
Was before. You mentioned you said it started in 1950 to 1980. But in 1960s,
Yeah, no. That's when this.
In the
Okay.
1960s,
Okay,
the Republicans were
why
the
don't
ones
you
that
do
were
this?
writing the Civil Rights Act. The Republican,
Okay.
and it because it got passed by
I have
because
to
it got
leave, bro.
passed by
Okay.
a Democratic president, Lyndon B. Johnson, a racist that said, if I pass this, I'll have those N-words voting for me for the next
Okay,
200
I
years.
have to
So what are you talking
leave.
about? So you every time you say something, I have a rebuttal. You don't like the rebuttal. Okay, then let's move on. What's up, Free Palestine?
Yeah, man, I gotta get going too, man. I gotta work out, but I'm gonna send you a follow, bro. And maybe next time you're on a live or something, I'll jump on.
Bruh, I don't like. I'm just saying I disagree with y'all, but I would say why I disagree. If you think I'm wrong, okay, we just gotta agree to disagree. You can't just say, "Oh, I said something and you didn't disapprove it." I'm like, this was my statement for everything you said, but don't make me defend Israel. I don't want to defend Israel. I don't particularly care what Israel does or not. But I'm just giving the other side. Well, I got you though.
Yeah, I get it, man. All right, man. Well, I'll maybe I'll catch you later, brother.
All right, then, bye, bro.
All right, take care.
All right, then I'm getting off. Then, where am I getting off? Anyone want to come tell me? You said MAGA is all about preserving white supremacy. How? Are you want Donnie? Send your request up here, Van Turpin. How is MAGA about conserving white supremacy? What, like you tell me, like what did Trump or MAGA do that was considered racist? Van Turpin 352. Because like y'all always say that Trump's racist, this and that, and I'm like, he's not. Y'all saying that, oh, the what is it, the Central Park Five, Trump is racist because of that. The Central Park Five said that they were guilty of it, but no one ever addressed that. And then y'all say, oh, Trump denied housing. First of all, that wasn't Trump specifically. If he hired some people that was kind of effed up like he did in his first administration, you're gonna say, oh, that's Trump's fault. And he settled, and I'm pretty sure he settled out of court with that because it was just easier to settle out of court. But when Trump, I forgot, when Trump gave Nelson Mandela, when Trump offered his plane to Nelson Mandela, no one ever mentioned about that. When Trump was giving that black girl free housing in one of his buildings, no one mentions that. Trump is racist, right? Everyone wants to say, oh, because he said they were shithole countries. I'm like, why don't y'all live in none of these third world countries? If all these third world countries are so great, then why don't y'all live in them? Going this hard just for clicks. Why am I wrong? Top toops. Like, no one ever wants to say why I'm wrong. They say, oh, you're wrong. Why am I wrong? Because you're wrong. You're doing this for a clickbait. Bruh, if I wanted to do this for clickbait and get more money, I'll just act like a blue-haired liberal because y'all love that. Like, come on now. There's more blue-haired liberals on this app that will support me saying these far left crazy ideas than if I was to say conservative ideas. That's just a fact. Like, come on now. But no one ever want to tell me why I'm wrong. They just say, you're wrong. Why am I wrong? Who's going to come explain to me why am I wrong? What do you think all this deportation? Because they came here illegally. They called Obama the deporter in chief, but when Trump does it, it's a problem. It's racist. So Obama's racist too. When who was it? Not AOC, but Nancy Pelosi was talking about that on mass deportation. She supported that back in the past. Bernie Sanders supported deporting illegals in the past. Biden supported deporting illegals in the past. But so they're all racist too, right? Those are Democrats, right? But when Trump says, you know what, we need to deport the illegals, oh my goodness, he's racist. But when Bernie Sanders said it, when Nancy Pelosi said it, Chuck Schumer said it, they weren't considered racist. How come when they did it, they weren't considered? Because the Census Bureau projected in the 1990s that Latinos and Hispanics would be the majority. Okay, and they wouldn't be the majority. They'll be a second-class citizenship because they wouldn't have citizenship. They wouldn't have citizenship. How would they? They would just be a second-class citizen that's illegally allowed to be here. Oh wait, I think I know what you're talking about. You're trying to talk about they're replacing the Great Replacement Theory. That's what you're talking about. No, did Obama believe in the Great Replacement Theory? Did Obama believe that? Because Obama, y'all love to bring this up. Y'all love to say Obama deported more people than Trump. But Trump is the racist and he's supporting the replacement theory because he believed that the Hispanic population are replaces. So Van Turpin, how come it was okay for Obama to do it but not Trump? Like, make that make sense. How come Obama could do mass deportation, but if Trump does it, oh, that's racist? Nancy Pelosi supported this idea. Chuck Schumer supported this idea. Bernie Sanders supported this idea. These are people that's the Democrat. Y'all love these people, so they should be considered racist too. But because Trump supported, oh, now that's racist. In 2015, not considered racist. Obama do it. 2016, oh my goodness, Trump said that they're daggone rapists and murderers. Well, is MS-13 now trafficking humans across the Darien Strait, where a lot of people end up dying? What happened to all those women there? What happened to the kids that had the they had like phone numbers tattooed on their arm where they said they'll call that location and just send them there, and they didn't really know where they were sending these kids. They didn't do any research. Y'all say, oh, Trump is putting kids in cages. Obama built the cages. Trump doesn't do it by violating the Constitution. Expedited removal is how Obama removed them without going to court, and it's the same process that Trump is doing. And a lot of them, to claim asylum, you gotta do it within 1 year. If you want to bring up Brago Garcia, he said he trying to follow asylum claim, but he did it like 7 years after living in America. Oh, I'm gonna follow asylum claim now. Brago Garcia got his due process in 2019. Judge Kessler was an immigration judge that said, "Yo, this dude is an MS-13 gang member." And then when he appealed it, the appeal judge said, "Yeah, I agree with the Judge Kessler. He's an MS-13 gang member." So 2 judges said that he was an MS-13 gang member, and they had an order for withholding, and they gave him a work permit. A work permit does not give them access to stay in America forever. They could still be kicked out. That's due process. The due process for illegal immigrant to get removed. Are you here illegally? Yes, you're here illegally. Leave. That's due process for illegal immigrant. Did I get something wrong? Let me know what I got wrong. Did I get something wrong? Is that not due process for illegal immigrant? I'm trying to figure out, like, when Trump does it, y'all have a problem. Not Biden, but that was funny. When Obama does it, it's great. No, the deporter in chief is what he was called. No one had anything to say about that. That wasn't considered racist. What is white supremacy undertones? What does that mean? How is he dog whistling? Because Obama was literally running on the same things that Trump is running on. Obama, Bernie Sanders, daggone Chuck Schumer, Nancy Pelosi, all was saying the same thing. Like, come on now. Obama, Chuck Schumer, Nancy Pelosi, and who was it? Bernie Sanders, all were saying before 2015, they were all saying we can't have mass illegal immigration. You can't cut to the front of the line and think that's okay. We gotta send them back. And Obama, the deporter in chief, was one of the people that sent the most illegal immigrants back. Like, come on now. But I forgot. Y'all Democrats are more worried about who's gonna pick your fruits and vegetables. That's why y'all care. Y'all want that cheap labor. That's why y'all want illegal immigration. Y'all love cheap labor. Just like in 1865, if I get rid of my slaves, who's gonna pick all this cotton? Now Democrats are saying, if I get rid of the illegals, who's gonna pick all my fruits and vegetables? Someone said Bill Clinton and Obama both voted in on deportation. They both had a deportation policy of deporting illegal immigrants. But when Trump does it, oh, he's dog whistling. I'm like, huh? So Obama was dog whistling to white supremacists. Bernie Sanders dog whistling to white supremacists. Chuck Schumer and Nancy Pelosi, because they were all against they were all against illegal immigration. Well, first of all, you don't know my history. Like, how was Trump trying to delete my history? Someone earlier came and said he's removing the Tuskegee Airmen. It was just so daggone, wasn't it just a video that they had to watch and then, like, in part of training, they say you don't gotta do that no more? You're trying to say, someone said something about him removing stuff from the Smithsonian that had to do with black people. I looked it up just then and there and said, yeah, that's not true. So what do you mean? How is Trump deleting my history? I'm assuming you mean African American history, even though I'm Haitian. Even though I'm Haitian, I'm assuming when you say he's deleting your history, you're talking about African American, like the Tuskegee Airmen and stuff, right? Like, come on. Did you just assume my race? You know how they say, did you just assume my gender? So, like, explain to me how Trump is deleting the history. Explain it to me. First, like, come on now. Y'all was just talking. Y'all love that free labor, that cheap labor, don't y'all, Van Turpin? Y'all love that cheap illegal immigrant labor because even they wanted them to stay in America, but they never came up with a pathway to citizenship. If y'all bring in these illegal immigrants, what would y'all had to change the laws to increase the pathway to citizenship, and y'all never planned on doing that. Y'all just wanted them here illegally so they could work under the table for cheap labor. That's literally like saying, yo, like, I want to keep my slaves though. Why should we? What is Trump doing? What is Lincoln doing? I want to keep my slaves. How does that make sense? Oh yeah, I like the one y'all doing right now. Oh, he's violating the Constitution. He's arresting a judge. How is he arrested a judge that broke the law? Who was the judge? Hoogan, something like that. Guggen, something like that. She said that, yo, hey, ICE, I don't like you in my courtroom. Hey, illegal, take the side door to get out, which is aiding and abetting illegal, which is a crime. But all y'all want to talk about is Trump is ignoring the Constitution. He literally followed it. What are you talking about? I'm so like, what, like, she ain't got nothing else. You got anything else, Van Turpin? I got a rebuttal for everything you got. Like, come on now. Apparently, Democrats love cheap labor, cheap illegal labor, and not giving them a pathway to citizenship, so they're forced in a second-class citizen position. They believe that black people can't succeed in America because they're black. That sounds like racism to me. Like, Republicans say, yo, no, we don't got a problem with you if you're. All we just need, like, if you're good enough, you could do it. Like, I ain't, like, all this time, like, you could be, scroll back through this. The only time something racist was said was by someone on the left because I disagree with them. It wasn't a law that Congress passed. It was an executive order, which only a directive. What was in a law that Congress passed? What was in a law? What are you talking about? If you're talking about what I'm talking about, I'm saying Congress never passed a law to help them for a pathway to citizenship. So if you allow all these illegals to stay and not giving them a pathway to citizenship, you're just creating a second-class citizen or a second-class status for people to be able to stay here illegally. And the only reason you want to allow these people to stay here illegally is for cheap labor. But what are you talking about? And like, y'all want to say, oh, DEI is to help out black people, bruh. DEI helped out more white women than black people. Like, what do y'all mean when y'all say DEI to help out black people? When all the studies, you could even check out CNN, they will tell you that DEI helped out more white women, them liberal, weird hair white women, than black people. But y'all want to act like y'all doing it for the black people. Come on now. The reason that white liberal women support DEI is because they have a useless degree that they know that if they have to be competitive on the job market, that useless degree is not going to help them. Like, you go to school for like 10 years to be a basket weaver and you expect to get out and make like $100K? Democrats started Social Security. If you Democrats so much, give up your I'm not a Democrat. What you mean? We should like Social Security, they project by like 2030 something that Social Security is gonna be insolvent. We're not putting enough into Social Security for us to be able to take some out. ICE is operating under a directive, not law made in Congress. What do you mean? But what? Look up expedited removal. Literally, the law's expedited removal is what give ICE the ability to remove someone without sending them to court. Before Obama, like during Obama's time and before, no, they didn't, like 83% of the people that he deported didn't even see a court case. The overwhelming vast majority of people deported by Obama didn't see a court case. So what law are you talking about? What directive are you talking about? There wasn't no it's not kidnapping. If someone broke the law, you have the on what is it? Yeah, reasonable articulable suspicion to believe that this individual is the one that committed the crime. You have that on, I forgot the word. But you say, hey yo, we know you did that, so bam, we're taking you out. The Supreme Court blocked deporting under the Alien Enemies Act. The Supreme Court blocked deporting under the Alien Enemies Act. They didn't really block it. They said that they just gotta offer them they gotta go to court for that. That's what they actually said. So you're kind of wrong that on coughing small talk. They broke our laws. That's their due process. I agree with you. Literally, this is due process for illegal immigrants. You came here legally. We know you came here legally. You don't have any paperwork that says you're legally allowed to be here. You're out. There is nothing saying that they got to go through a court first before we kick them out. Before Obama and during Obama's time and before, no one was doing that. They started going to court under that going Biden's era, and that's why they're trying to say that, oh, you have to do this. Like, come on now. They did stop it. Alien Enemies Act will not be reinstated. No, that's not, bro. That's not what it says. It was a 0-9 vote that said if you want to use the Alien Enemies Act, you got to give them a court case. I'm pretty sure. Wook.
Yeah, what you said was just not true.
So what was the Supreme Court case? What was the ruling on that?
What do you mean? So if you come into this country, anybody that comes into this country, you have a right to due process. Due process is having a court case and not showing that you are illegal. Yes, it is.
Means,
okay, I got a question for you. Let me ask one question. Hold on, wait. Give me. Okay, no, let me ask you one question because, all right, you're telling me that I'm wrong. So if I say that you're a Haitian immigrant and ICE needs to deport you, prove that you're not a Haitian immigrant.
Under ICE, they could look me up. All I got to do is give my social security number.
No, that's due process.
Yeah, what under ICE, I didn't go to court. I didn't go to court, right?
Yeah.
That's
no. This is in court. No,
you don't gotta do that in court. The ICE agents could look your stuff up. You know how when a police officer, you get pulled over about police officer, you give them your license, and they're able to pull up your information. Come on now,
that's
the federal government is able. I'm not. That's due process for illegal immigrants.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is. It's not. Then how come Obama didn't send the overwhelming mass majority of people that was deported under Obama? Why didn't they go get a court case?
They did.
They did not. They did not. They were removed under expedited removal. That's how they were removed. No, and expedited removal states you don't have to go to court.
Why do you think this is a big deal?
Do you know what expedited removal is?
Expedited removal?
Yes.
So again, that is signed off by a judge. So you don't know what it is. It is signed off by a judge.
It's not signed off by a judge. In expedited removal, it stays without a court case.
Yeah, that's not it. There's still a warrant for your arrest. There's not a warrant for these people.
That's not what you don't know, bro. Just say you don't know what expedited removal is.
There's no warrant.
You don't know what expedited removal is, though.
Show me the warrant. Show me the warrant.
That's not what you need. If we can prove that you're here illegally, get out.
Yeah, but again, if you're proving it, that's due process. But you haven't proven it.
That's not in front of a judge.
And also, most of these people have gone through a legal process to come here called asylum.
No, they didn't. They just crossed the border.
Yes, they did.
You say most of these people. You say most of these people. What you mean by most of these people? Bro, you're just saying liberal talking points. You're not saying something that's actually true, dog.
Most people don't walk through the desert. Most people come through legal ports of entry.
No, that's
not true. You do know that, right?
Then what is the Darien Gap? What is the Darien Gap?
Okay, so hold on. No, so some people do come through there. I'm not saying none of these people. Who do
about
like 20% of the people?
You say only
about 20% of the people who come through that. However, the rest of the 80% of the people come through legal ports of entry. Why do you think we have? Yes, they do. Okay, look it up.
I'm looking up right now. I'll look it up right now.
Yeah. I'll give you time. But at the same time, why do you think we have records of how many times like ICE runs into like illegal immigrants or people coming into the country? It's not because no. It's because that's every instance that an ICE agent or a Customs and Border Patrol agent runs into a person who's trying to come into the country. That's how we have a record of that. Most people come through legal ports of entry, not walking through the desert. That's ridiculous.
It says about 40% of them was asylum claims, and only 15% of encounters were at ports of entry. 2021.
Okay, that's the majority.
That's 15%. 15%. That's not the majority. 15 is not the majority.
You just changed it.
No.
You just said it was 50,
you not read what I said? You not read what I said?
You just said 50, bro.
Did you not? I didn't say 50. I said 15.
You did. Okay, and what
oh my goodness, you're one of those people. You're gonna be like that?
Yeah. What source are you using? What's the source?
What's up, Rose, bro?
Hey.
That dude's
Can you hear me?
Yeah, what's up? What's up?
Okay. I want to point out that y'all delete Black history, not us.
Say that again.
Y'all delete Black history.
Trump deleted Black. How did he delete Black history?
Jackie Robinson history was deleted by Trump.
Let me look this up where you said Jackie Robinson.
Yeah. Although I don't remember seeing a single Republican at any VMO thing, so I don't know if anything, y'all are the racist people, not us.
It's y'all. It's okay though.
No, it's y'all. Y'all are racist.
I have a question. Do you believe Black people are equal in America?
Yes, they should be, but they're not.
So you don't think Black people are equal in America? That sounds racist to me.
I just said no, it didn't.
You said you don't believe them, but they should be. If you don't believe they're equal, that's kind of racist.
Because police and other people, that's why. How you like? That's why.
I got a question. If one area has more crime, do you think there should be more police there?
Yeah.
So how's that racist? So that means Black areas will get policed more, right? Is that racist?
I never said anything about Black.
If Black people commit crimes in a disproportionate rate than white people, would they not get policed more?
Oh my gosh.
Yes or no?
Y'all delete. Say the question again.
If Black people commit crimes at a disproportionate rate than white people, would it not get policed more?
Probably.
So is that racist?
No.
Okay.
I believe Black people deserve have much rights as everyone else, but they don't because of police, because of the history, and like other stuff like that.
I'm trying to read the stuff you said about the Jack Robinson stuff right quick. I'm not seeing where he's talking about that something from Jackie Robinson was removed.
His history was deleted.
His history is deleted from what particularly?
His military records.
I think somebody made that up.
What?
No, it's true.
Why would he mess with Jackie Robinson?
Because y'all are racist people. We're not.
What do you mean y'all are racist people?
I'm hearing that they did remove it, but they brought it back because they did that by mistake.
No,
so they corrected
mistake.
So they deleted it and brought it back from oversight, from an error or a mistake.
That's still messed up. No. In the first place, deleting the history.
But they brought it back. That's not good enough for you?
No, because they deleted it.
And then they brought it back.
Yeah, but that's still a horrible thing to do.
So
to bring it back?
What's wrong? So they deleted it and bring it back. What was the problem then?
Now they deleted it in the first place.
But they brought it back. Okay. When you're trying to change a whole bunch of stuff, right? Isn't there gonna be some stuff that falls through the crack when you're trying to change stuff on a mass level, right? And then when we realize that, you know what? I made a mistake here. Let me go back and fix my mistake. Isn't that not what you should do?
It's still messed up that in the first place.
Okay, it was messed up, but they corrected their mistake. Are you just gonna focus?
If that's not racist,
do you just want to focus on that? You just want to focus on that?
That's the time that you have on your screen, so why not?
Is this the only thing you have? Because usually people bring up stuff like the Central Park 5 or like and other stuff, but like you're just gonna focus on they deleted something and brought it back.
I didn't hear. Also, y'all can care less about BMM and all that horribleness.
What was so good? BLM, right? Talking about the group that was started by 3 fat black lesbians. That's just a joke from Jesse Lee Peterson. That's just a joke. That group was started for, what did that group do for black people? Because that organization helped out more LGBTQ stuff than it did anything for black people, right? It was just collecting donations to give those 3 black people a mansion. So what did that group do for black people?
Oh my gosh.
Can I answer
Instead of saying, oh my gosh, how come y'all never answer? Y'all like,
Can I answer that?
Who that?
The top person in my own skin.
Yeah, go ahead. I'm your skin. That's you?
Yeah, because your argument, the big black people that you said.
It was just a joke from Jesse Lee Peterson.
And I'm going with your joke, your ha-ha moment. They didn't start it.
So who started Black Lives Matter?
I don't exactly know who started, but they didn't. Those people are the ones that are giving credit for starting Black Lives Matter. No, those people they're giving credit for the negative impact that they brought upon Black Lives Matter.
The negative impact was from the protesters that were mostly peaceful.
Excuse me, no, it wasn't. Those actually, you're talking about a small percentage that the media exposed. When we all know that
most of the people at January 6th was mostly peaceful.
Look at it, know that over 90% of the marches was peaceful.
The majority of January 6th was peaceful.
Well, we're not talking about January 6th, though, right?
So, because usually when I bring that up, I say, "Oh, that's not true." It's like, come on now. So, if 10% is bad, and that organization is doing stuff like March 28th, 2020, where they were, and to March 31st, 2020, when they were trying to burn down buildings for the White House, and they're trying to they were like attacking the White House to the point that Trump had to get put it in a bunker under the White House. That's mostly peaceful.
But that never happened. That was
They burned down a church that was close to the White House. What you mean that never happened?
What church? What church did BLM? What church? Excuse me, I ain't gonna say BLM. What church did those marches burn down?
Lafayette Square.
Well, I do remember they did do something. That something did happen at that time period. But I'm not saying that all of January 6th was bad. The only people that I claim that happened on January 6th was bad was anybody that went into that building. Everybody else was fine.
What's so great about Black Lives Matter, though? What did Black Lives Matter do that was so great?
To me, I think anytime that any group that's trying to stand up for something positive is good.
Okay, my bad.
You don't think so you don't think that a group of people, that actually peacefully protest is a positive?
What did they do? They're peacefully protesting. Okay, now what did that get? What were they trying to protest?
What was it about?
That's what I'm asking you.
So it started from the police brutality. So that's where it stemmed from. Well, I'm just going to say police brutality. Okay. At that specific time, there was an uptick of media pushed police brutality. Okay. So at that time, when those marches started, I'm only saying this, when those protests started, peaceful, they started communities. When I say communities, different local governments and state governments implemented laws that to support. Well, I don't have no problem with defunding the police, because in one place specifically, they defunded the police, but they really didn't. They sent money over to different programs in the community to help combat recidivism rates in overly funded areas.
why does the area where they try to implement defund the police crime rates go up? Is that something that we
Name
should
a
try
place. Name a place. Name
Isn't
a
that,
place.
isn't that what they tried doing like on what is it, Seattle or something like that? And then they had the whole Chaz thing where there was a whole area that was taken over by a group of people. Like,
and we never seen that media based that we never seen in actuality. Nothing was ever taken over. That was
the
media.
Chaz, you know the Chaz thing? What was it called? Chaz. You know Chaz, right?
Nothing. Nothing.
They burned down a police station and they took over downtown
They did,
for like
but we
6
wasn't
weeks.
talking about what we also. I also acknowledged that we had bad apples, just like you had bad apples.
What the flip?